In my town, there was a hangout that the locals referred to as the spot. The spot was out in the woods, in the middle of nowhere, with a rundown cement building, referred to as the bunker. As with many of these types of things in other towns, the spot was a common place for teens to hang out. It was rumored to be haunted, but my friends and I didn't buy into that, until one night when we decided to go to the spot ourselves. We weren't a group that usually did things like this. None of us were big into parties or sneaking out, but we had been invited by the cool kids, and you know how teenagers are. Happy to be included this time, we planned to tell our parents we were having a study group for upcoming midterms, and we would all be crashing at Chris's house. Chris's parents were hardly ever home, or really present when they were, so it was the perfect alibi. All we had to do was check in with our parents once about halfway through the night, and we'd be fine. It was fall, so it was getting darker earlier. We were going to head out by 7 so we could have plenty of time out there. The spot was about half a mile from the outskirts of town, so getting there didn't take long. Someone had brought drinks we shouldn't be consuming, and there were fold-up tables set up with snacks, music, and decks of cards. Everyone who had battery-powered lanterns were asked to bring them, so there were probably 20 of them total at any given time throughout the night. One rule our group wouldn't break was indulging in drinks we shouldn't have, so we brought a cooler full of energy drinks to contribute. The building at the spot was rather large for being in the middle of nowhere. In local stories, it was said to have been so many things over the years, including a storm shelter, a storage bunker, and even rumored to be somewhere more sinister, a place where human trafficking had taken place. I don't think anyone around now even knows what it actually started as. We decided to explore the building, and I wanted to get some video clips for social media for a few weeks later, once we were all home and no one could prove what night we had actually went out there, and for what. I took some pictures, but stopped when I overheard a group of seniors talking about how the spot itself wasn't haunted, and the road it was on was. They were telling stories about how some people had seen figures crossing the road or heard screams. I immediately relayed the information to my friends, who of course decided we should drive around the area. You know, for research. As a group of teenage guys would, we started making dares. "Dude, I dare you to stand outside on the road for 10 minutes alone," one of the guys said. "Okay, but I dare you to get out of the car and go into the woods by yourself," the other guy said back. We all piled into the car, phones in hand, for documentation purposes. "Yeah, as if some road is haunted," Chris said. "Ooh, I'm terrified," I responded. I would eat those words later. We took off still laughing and drove a bit down dark, desolate roads before stopping to get some video and pictures. My best friend James decided to do an alone challenge, something we had seen on YouTube, where he would be completely alone in the haunted location, this time meaning the dark back roads. "Call me if you see a ghost," I said, in a mocking voice. The rest of us were driving as far back as we could get in the 5 minutes, so that we could turn around and pick him up in a total of 10. We were only a minute down the road when we heard a scream. It was a male screaming, so I told Chris to call James just in case. "He said he's fine and stop bothering him," Chris said. "Fine, we'll see if I go back for him later then," I said. "Whoa, stop the car," Chris yelled. I slowed the car to a stop, thinking Chris was probably messing with me. I said, "Let me guess, you saw the boogeyman." "I'm not playing, man. I just saw someone run into the woods behind us." Chris threw the car door open and hopped out, starting a recording on his phone. "Yo guys, check it out. We're on Bay Road in the middle of the night, and we just heard screaming. I just saw someone run across the road behind our car and told my buddy Tom to stop it so I could make a video for you all." "Oh, for Christ's sake, Chris, this is for your Instagram?" I yelled out. He stopped recording and said, "Dude, no, I really did see something, and now I have to edit your annoying voice out of my video, too." "We should follow the person and see what they're doing. It can't be anything good if they're wandering around the woods after 10 p.m., he said. "We only have a minute before we need to start heading back to James," I reminded him. Insisting he'd be quick, he walked into the woods before I could protest. About 20 seconds later, he came flying back out, yelling at us to get in the car and go. "Drive! Go, go, go!" he said. "Okay, I'm driving. What the heck, man?" I said back. I was just ending my video clip and heard something behind me. Whoever that was said run, and he didn't sound happy about it, Chris said. "We'll go get James and come back. We need to make sure whoever screamed is okay," I said. When we got back to James, we asked if he'd heard the scream, and he swore he heard nothing the whole 10 minutes. "No, I just stood there twiddling my thumbs. I didn't hear anything," he said. As we approached the area Chris had gotten out at minutes before, there was another scream. "We have to get out. What if someone needs help?" I said. "We'll go and make sure no one was hurt and then get the heck out," James responded. We searched for about a half an hour, about to give up and head back to the car. We heard the loudest scream yet, almost one of agony. We all stopped in our tracks for a quick second before taking off towards the scream, knowing someone needed help this time. But again, we searched for a good 10 to 15 minutes and found nothing. There was no sign of anyone in the woods around us. Once we were pretty certain there was nothing we could help with, we headed back to the car, still confused. We decided we weren't going back to the spot, so we decided to head home when Chris yelled again, "Stop! Someone just ran behind the car!" But again, we searched, and again, we found nothing. We booked it out of there after the last time. After doing some research, it turns out that there was a woman kidnapped and chased through those woods over 20 years ago. She almost made it out, but at the last second a man came out of nowhere and snatched her and brought her back. To this day, people, like us, still see her running through the woods and can hear her screaming. Before that night, I was a cocky kid who mocked the paranormal. Since then, I believe, and I've been back a few times and experienced similar things. Well, if there are any kids listening, 1, don't sneak out, and 2, don't mock the paranormal. Thank you to tonight's listener for sharing that spooky story. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow, friends.